morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to show you another really weird Pokemon deck that people did not see coming, that has gone and started doing really well at the Limitless TCG online tournaments. We saw a quite high second place finish this past weekend from the lovely Benjamin Pham playing Macgargo with a Lowland Persian. Did anyone have a Lowland Persian Macgargo on their list of top decks? Because I'll be honest with you, right, I'm kind of obsessive about the whole Pokemon thing. And I look at a lot of decks and I'm constantly thinking about the game. And I did not have this on my list of decks that are going to be amazing. But it does look kind of amazing. So let's have a gander, shall we? Now, clearly one of the coolest things here is a Lowland Persian GX. And the entire goal of a Lowland Persian GX is basically to lock your opponent out of the game. It's got the ability Smug Face, which prevents all effective attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by your opponent's tag team Pokemon and Ultra Beasts, and by your opponent's Pokemon that have any special energy attached to them. Yeah, that's a lot of different things. Now, in terms of blocking Ultra Beasts, really at the moment you're talking about Baby Blacephalon. No other Ultra Beasts are really seeing that much play. Yeah, Blacephalon GX is still there, but it sees most players are one of in Baby Blacephalon decks at the moment. And there are still some people playing around with Naganadel, but really, Ultra Beasts are not that great at the moment. But tag team Pokemon, yeah. You've got Pikachu and Zekrom, you've got Reshiram and Charizard, you've got Mewtwo and Mew, you're looking rather nice indeed. As for special energy, you'll see people with Weakness Guard energy running around, and you'll see people playing Aurora energy. It's not huge at the moment, but again, you'll grab the odd deck. Now, to be clear, a Lowland Persian is a fun trick and is my favourite thing about the deck. It is not the main attacker. You're playing 10 Fire Energy, 1 Darkness, but I still love it. And I also love it because playing a Lowland Persian opens up the opportunity of playing a Lowland Meowth. Now, a Lowland Meowth is one of my very favourite cards in the entire format. For a single colourless energy, you do 10 damage, but if you go second, you do 60 more damage, as long as it's your first turn of the game. So it's only half your games when you go second, and it's only turn 1 on those games, but 70 damage for 0 energy. You can use your energy attachment for the turn to get your active out of the active, and then you can get a KO on evolving Pokemon. It won't win you very many games, but it'll win you 1 or 2 here or there. Now, the main part of this deck is Macgargo, and it is Macgargo GX, and it is the Macgargo from Celestial Storm. And these have been a phenomenal pairing ever since we got the pair of them. You see, Macgargo's got the ability Smooth Over, lets you once during your turn search your deck for any card and put it on top of your deck. And then Macgargo GX has the ability Crushing Charge, that lets you once during your turn discard the top card of your deck. But if it is a basic energy, you may attach it to one of your Pokemon. We've then got an attack for free energy that does 50 damage and lets you discard as much basic energy from this Pokemon as you like, dealing 50 more for each one discarded. And a GX attack that for 1 fire energy discards the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck, which is sneaky good because it means your opponent has always got to be conscious of not getting too low on cards in their deck. And as much as they work beautifully together, and they do, the Macgargo from Celestial Storm also combos amazingly with the Oranguru from Sword and Shield. It lets you swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. So the ideal situation here is, you don't search for a fire energy with Macgargo, you've got a fire energy in your hand. You search your deck for any card that you like, you then use Oranguru to draw it, while putting a fire energy from your hand on top of your deck, so that you'll still hit with Macgargo GX's ability. When that works, it is a thing of absolute beauty. Now, we are playing a 1/1 Ninetales list purely because we're playing Fire Energy here. Ninetales lets you discard 2 Fire Energy from your hand and then gust one of your opponent's bench Pokemon in the active. Why would we not, ladies and gentlemen? Why would we not? I mean, in a Fire deck, it's too good. And then we finish off with a couple of Prism Stars. Both our main Pokemon here are Stage 1s, as is Ninetales. It's an almost entirely Stage 1 deck. So clearly Ditto Prism Star, that can evolve into any Stage 1, becomes amazing. And then we play Victini Prism Star here. Lets you shuffle all the basic energy from your discard pile into your deck, doing 20 damage for each one shuffled back. In the late game, this becomes an amazing single prize attacker. And then, yeah, we're playing 2 Dedenne GX, purely because, well, you discard your hand, you draw 6 cards. It's a phenomenal starting off Pokemon. Why would you not? Now, in terms of energy, we are talking 10 fire, 1 darkness. We are playing darkness energy. We do want to be prepared to be able to attack with a Lowland Persian. It is a blocker and a good one at that. But at its heart, this is still, it's a Macgargo deck, but it is a very weird, inventive Macgargo deck, and that's why I love it. Moving over into trainers, we've got quite a lot of the usual fire tricks. 4 copies of Welder to accelerate energy while drawing cards. 3 copies of Fire Crystal to get fire energy from your discard pile, often to attach them with Welder. 2 copies of Giant Half to search fire energy out from your deck. And a copy of Heat Factory Prism Star to discard a fire energy from your hand and draw 3 cards. Gives you extra consistency in the early game, or the mid game, or the late game. It's just a phenomenal card that lets you draw extra cards, and that's kind of awesome. Now, in terms of Pokemon search here, we play 4 copies of Quick Ball. Yes, there's a lot of evolutions here, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be playing Quick Ball to get our basics out. And then we don't actually play any Evolution Incense. Why do we not play any Evolution Incense? Because it won't get your basics. 4 copies of Great Ball. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Find a Pokemon, put it in your hand. 3 copies of Pokemon Communication. Swap a Pokemon you don't want in your hand, or you do want be willing to part with, for a Pokemon you do want in your deck. Yes, obviously Evolution Incense would be better for getting out your evolutions, but playing these 2 cards means that you're also likely to draw your basics or be able to get your basics in the early game. And as much as your stage 1s are important, and they are, you still need to be getting out your basics. So I kind of like this Pokemon search line. It's not what we usually see, but it is quite a nice way to go about doing things. Now, the only other supporter we play here is 3 copies of Marnie. Both players shuffle their hands and put them at the bottom of their deck. You draw 5 cards, your opponent draws 4. And this is basically your way of trying to slow your opponent down. Anytime your opponent would be having too fast a start, or they've just got a good hand, this goes. If you're not playing Welder, this will work very nicely just to give you cards while hopefully slowing down your opponent. We then play 2 copies of Switch to make sure we got the right Pokemon in the active at the right time. 1 copy of Ordinary Rod to recover our Pokemon and basic energy if we wish. Mostly Pokemon here, because between Jirachi and Fire Crystal, yeah, you're alright for getting your energy out the discard. And then 2 copies of Island Challenge Amulet. Now, this is the Pokemon tool that reduces the HP of a Pokemon GX by 100, or EX, but they're not in standard at the moment, but means you give up 1 fewer prize. And you can play this on a Dedenne, so Dedenne becomes a 1 prize Pokemon, or you can play it on Macgargo, so that your opponent only takes 1 prize off your GX attacker. You can play it on a Alolan Persian, but remember, Alolan Persian is only coming out to block. If you are coming out to block, your opponent is likely to use weaker Pokemon that are not Tag Teams, Ultra Beasts, or have special energy. The last thing you want to do is make it easier for them to take out your blocker. But meaning that you give up 1 fewer prize can be absolutely the difference between winning a game and losing the game. I like having 2 copies of it here. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. A weird deck, to be sure. Not one that was on my radar as one of the top decks. But when you see it taking 36th place in a tournament with 1,000 people, it's one we need to start taking pretty gosh darn seriously. But now it's over to you guys. Is this a deck you've played with? Is it a deck you've played against? Is it one you're taking seriously? Do you think it's one of the top decks in the format? Do you think Benji's just that gosh darn good as a player? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty gosh darn good nonetheless. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.